Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today, let's take a look at 5 wide receivers our 49ers could go ahead and sign in free agency. If you missed my video yesterday, I mentioned 3 things the Niners must do this offseason. I said, let go of Emmanuel Sanders and go and get a new wide receiver. Well, in order to kind of back that up, I wanted to come on here and give you guys 5 wide receivers in free agency the Niners could go ahead and make a run at that could replace and maybe be better than Emmanuel Sanders. This is not draft, right? Because the draft has a lot of great wide receivers. This is free agency alone, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the biggest fish in the pond, and that will be Amari Cooper. Now, Amari Cooper, the Dallas Cowboy wide receiver, is the #1 free agent wide receiver going into this year's free agency class. The problem is, I do him first because he's not likely to hit the open market because Dallas might re-sign him. Now, he still could. And if he does, he's going to be the most expensive wide receiver on this list. But if he is able to slide past Dallas, because the whole Dak Prescott franchise tag, long-term deal mess is happening right now, and Byron Jones, the corner, is there as well, they might let him go. They might let him walk, and then he'll be the most sought-after wide receiver in free agency. Now, you might say, Thomas, we cannot afford Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's, the stats as you're seeing right now are just too good. He's been too elite. He's going to be too expensive. Well, if you were to just not re-sign any of your other players and you wanted to get the best wide receiver for Jimmy Garoppolo possible, then Cooper would be that guy. Look at the depth chart with Amari Cooper and try and tell me that Jimmy G would not love this. Cooper, Samuel, Hurd, right? Pettis would obviously be on there. Bourne, if you had, just think of the 3. Hurd, Cooper, and Samuel. That is a very good 1-2-3 punch for our 49ers. So Cooper is going to be on this list. Again, the problem is, will he hit free agency? He's scheduled to be a free agent. That's why we're talking about him. Will he hit free agency? And how much will he cost? Could be the big 2 things and big 2 factors on here. Although remember, the Niners were rumored to be interested in big fish like Odell Beckham Jr. and Antonio Brown. So they might not just want any wide receiver. They might want the best. And that's why we include Amari Cooper on this list. Quick ad break here on YouTube. Don't worry about the ad. Scroll down, let it run, and answer this question. Do the 49ers need an elite wide receiver going into 2020? I mean, like a good wide receiver. Do they need an elite wide receiver going into 2020? Let me know in the comments section down below. All right, so the fan favorite, if you're going to ask any Niner fan which free agent wide receiver they would most want to have, I would guarantee you 90% of you guys, including myself, would say A.J. Green, the Cincinnati wide receiver, who, for all intents and purposes, is old, coming off multiple injuries, but at the same time, was once an elite wide receiver, and I think it's going to have a lot of value on the free agent market in terms of a potential contract, what he could go ahead and request, because again, at his age, he's probably about to sign his final long-term deal of his career, and he might take a little bit of a discount to play for an elite team, obviously like the San Francisco 49ers, in order to win a Super Bowl. Now, you got to go way back to actually see some stats from A.J. Green, because it's been a while, but do the math here. It's a limited number of games. He was really, really good in that season that, again, was injury short, and then he, of course, didn't play last season. There's a long list of injuries that A.J. Green has had, but if you get a 100% healthy A.J. Green, like if you can have him at 100% for 16 games, oh my goodness, would him and Jimmy Garoppolo kittle this offense? It would be unstoppable. It would be like having a true #1, because Sanders is not a true #1. He was masquerading as a #1. This is a true #1 wide receiver in A.J. Green. Again, if you let Sanders go, and you want to spend money, but not Amari Cooper type money, this I think is what all Niner fans would want. It would be A.J. Green. I would rather have A.J. Green than Emmanuel Sanders, and I know that the stats are hard to compare because it's 2019 versus 2018 when he last played. I believe, just based off the eye test and what I know about A.J. Green, he would be a better wide receiver. What do you guys think? Would you rather have Sanders or Green? Because you can't have both, one or the other. Type S down below for Sanders, type G down below for Green. I want to see what you guys think in the comments section. Before we move on, I'm going to keep saying this, but just because the 49ers are done for the season, you can still bet with our friends at BetDSI, where they get a 120% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. So you've been on the fence, March Madness is here. Trust me, go ahead and start betting on them. Chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code 49ers, and you will go ahead and get a 120% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. Put $100 down, use our promo code 49ers. It turns into $220, which to me is a lot of money to go ahead and bet on LeBron or a Duke or whoever the heck you want to bet on here at Chatsports. Chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code 49ers. Go on, do it. Get your betting on. Moving on here to #3 on this list of 5 wide receivers the 49ers should go ahead and sign to replace Emmanuel Sanders. How about Robbie Anderson? Might be one of my favorite guys that a lot of teams are going to look at, but not a lot of national attention is going to go to. Very young, like 26 years old, an explosive deep threat, and I think could be an elite wide receiver in the future. He's just kind of been hindered by where he's played, obviously, with the New York Jets and Sam Darnold. Those, you see the stats on your screen, really not that bad if we're being quote-unquote hindered by Darnold and mono and all the things that he does. He was, I mean, to me, one of the true elite deep threats in the National Football League, that you could get behind a defense, make some acrobatic catches, and be great week in and week out. And again, he's playing with Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold is not exactly an elite quarterback. You know what? Let's go ahead and throw Sam Darnold's numbers up from last year. I know this is the 49er channel, but look at these numbers, right? You think that Emmanuel Sanders, do you think that Robbie Anderson would have a lot more fun playing in the Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo offense, or playing with Sam Darnold? Yeah, you guys can be the judge of that. But overall, I think Robbie Anderson is going to be highly sought after. Could be a little bit more expensive than A.J. Green just based on injury history and age, but still, I'm assuming this list on the fact that the Niners have created enough cap space to go ahead and re-sign these guys or go ahead and make an offer at these guys. So I'm just giving you a list of guys that they could go ahead and acquire. Before we move on, be sure to subscribe to Chat Sports' 49ers channel. We're approaching 16,000 subs, which is crazy. But if you have not officially subscribed, scroll down below. If you're new, welcome, gather around. Click the red subscribe button, click the notification bell. That way we can go ahead and keep growing and keep being the best 49er channel here on YouTube. Those three, the three like really elite guys that I think a lot of people want in free agency. How about two names that you might not know or you might not have talked about that the Niners could still, if they lose Sanders but still want to get somebody, could kind of work out. Starting with Nelson Aguilar from Philadelphia. It's unlikely the Eagles are going to go ahead and re-sign him. Multiple reports saying that he's not going to be back in Philadelphia. But the problem is he struggled with drops. He's actually a very good slot receiver, like a very good slot receiver. We can throw the stats up on the screen right now for you guys to take a look at what he did last year for Philadelphia. Injury plagued last year, by the way. He had this knee injury that just could not get healthy. So these stats don't fully show, obviously, a 16-game schedule. But he has struggled with drops in key situations, and I think that a lot of it is mental, just being in Philadelphia, and those fans are so ruthless that if he had a change of scenery, I think he could actually be pretty good. And he played college at USC, so it's kind of that connection there to Southern California, or I guess California in general, because obviously San Francisco is Northern California. Great work ethic, a great teammate by all intents and purposes. Again, I think a change of scenery could do him very, very well. And a place like San Francisco and a wide receiver-friendly offense, obviously with Deebo Samuel and Hurd and Kyle Shanahan, would make a lot of sense for Nelson Aguilar. I'd honestly not be too upset if Aguilar was the best receiver they got in free agency, because I think he can mix in there as a number 2 or number 3 option. That's assuming that obviously Hurd steps up and Deebo Samuel becomes the number 1. Like, again, these are two guys in terms of the 5 on this list that are a little less likely to be a true number 1, but still could be an option in replacement for Emmanuel Sanders. You guys want to get some sweet 49er swag right now in the offseason? Well, we'll help you out. Chatsports.com/49hat. The hats are going like hotcakes, I'm told. So, we're putting it up for one more day here. Chatsports.com/49hat. Go ahead and pick you guys up an official, authentic 49ers hat that you guys can rock, you know, when you're going to your kids' swim meet, or you're going golfing with the boys, you're just hanging out, doesn't matter. Again, chatsports.com/49hat. Get the link in the description. The final wide receiver on this list, I think, I mentioned Robbie Anderson not getting a lot of press. Brashad Perryman is not getting a lot of press at all in terms of being one of the better wide receivers in this class. All the rankings that I see have him as a top 5 wide receiver in this class in terms of free agency, and I think it's 100% true because of his big burner effects. 26 years old, ran a sub 4.3 at his pro day, and finished 2019 with 3 straight 100-yard games. Now, you're thinking, Thomas, the stats that you just threw up on the screen are not exactly elite wide receiver stats. Why are you so high on this guy? Because he was playing alongside Chris Godwin, who was a 100-yard machine in 2019, and Mike Evans, who is severely underrated because he plays with Jameis Winston. Oh yeah, and Jameis Winston was his quarterback, and he still had 3 straight 100-yard games to finish the season. This is a guy who is a burner, who can take the top of a defense, and you can make an argument that that's what the 49ers lack, because Chris Godwin was supposed to do that, and Chris Godwin's like 50 years old and too slow, and he might not make the team next year. Like, there are all these problems with obviously Marquise Goodwin. Chris Godwin, good lord. Marquise Goodwin, our wide receiver, same thing. Old, washed up, yeah, just not going to be an elite deep threat. So you can make the argument Samuel, obviously, underneath the deep ends, he still can be a deep threat, but Samuel, move across the middle. Hurd, we don't really know what Hurd's going to look like in terms of getting his first start at wide receiver, but you could have that burner that every team wants and every team fears on your team with a guy like Brashad Perryman, who obviously ran that sub-4 340 at his pro day, and you're like, man, that is some good stuff right there. We all like wide receivers with elite speed. Not a lot in the National Football League today. He is one of the new ones that's coming up at 26 years old, drafted a couple of years ago, and to me makes a lot of sense for San Francisco. All right, now you guys get to decide which of these 5 you want the 49ers to go ahead and sign. Again, I'm just giving you guys options here. There are other ones, and I'm sure there'll be comments saying, what about this guy, or what about that guy? Sure, right? If you have a different guy on the list, that's fine. These are free agents I thought that Niner fans would want to know about, and Niner fans would want to go ahead and sign. Let me know in the comment section down below which of these should the 49ers sign. I'll be looking to see who's kind of the fan favorite right now, because again, I think AJ Green's the fan favorite, but I'm curious how many people are going to be like, he's too old, he's too injury prone, too washed up. No, thank you. I think more people will be on the get AJ Green side than the not, but just for your viewing pleasure, I added a Cooper, I added obviously Robbie Anderson, Nelson Aguilar, and Brashad Perryman, so hopefully you like one of them. Again, I think you let Emmanuel Sanders go. You go ahead and sign somebody. Hard to go ahead and draft somebody because of where you're sitting at number 31 and with no day 2 or 3 picks. But if you move back, then maybe you get one in the draft. But if you don't, this was your list of 5 wide receivers the San Francisco 49ers could go ahead and sign in the 2020 offseason. All time we have for today. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.